This episode is sponsored by Anchor. If you haven't heard of Anchor by Spotify, let me fill you in. So, Anchor has everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. You can record and edit your podcast straight from your computer or your phone, whichever works for you. And it's as simple as downloading the Anchor app or going to anchor.fm. And when hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many, many more. And the best part about Anchor is that it's 100% free. It's pretty much the ultimate podcast tool at the moment, and honestly, I haven't seen it getting enough attention. We use Anchor for this very podcast, and it has made things 10 times easier because, like I said, it's literally everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. Again, go to anchor.fm or download the Anchor app to get started.
What's up, guys? This is Lucid, and today we're going to talk about basically the dangers and concerns of deepfakes and AI and stuff like that. Underneath all the memes and all the funny shit that we've all seen probably at this point, especially right now, underneath all that is something very malicious, I believe, because not that I've seen anyone use it maliciously, but I feel like it's only a matter of time until that shit really gets out of hand. So, if you haven't heard about any of this, basically what people can do is they can make pretty much anyone look like and sound like they're saying pretty much anything. Like anything you can pretty much think of. Like, so, you know, there's the whole fucking Joe Biden meme going around, which I think is hilarious, but it's also like it's kind of concerning how accurate this AI can make someone sound like someone. It's kind of insane. So I can see people using that to just spread like false, like, you know, like false information or frame someone.
Joe Biden memes in particular, he pretty much is a deep fake himself because he just says stuff that's just like, ridiculous.
Yeah.
He's a meme himself. He's pretty much a living meme.
Pretty much, yeah.
I saw one with Ben Shapiro, and I'm not a fan of the guy at all, but it was kind of risque, and like if the wrong person heard that and thought it was serious, I could see him getting in serious trouble.
Yeah.
Because of that, so it's definitely a uncharted territory that's kind of murky.
Yeah. I think we have yet to see this like really be used in a malicious way like that, because like how I'm thinking it could be used is like
extortion, blackmail,
right? Yeah.
You know,
what if you like
someone?
What if you like, you know, fake expose someone and you're like, look what they said to me, and then it's one of those AI generated voice things, and how could you refute it if it sounds exactly like you? And they can't, you know, there's nothing to see or anything. You could be like, oh, I recorded this call or something, and then you're saying some heinous shit. That could ruin your life potentially, or a good portion of it.
I think at a certain point, there's going to be a case where something big happens, where there's criminal charges pressed on the person that did it, and then it kind of will spiral out of control from there.
Yeah, I mean, there's...
that's the way I see this headed.
What'd you say? I didn't hear the last part.
That's the way that I could see this heading.
Oh, yeah.
Like, someone taking it way too far, or someone using it as a personal grudge or vendetta against someone.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
Just someone who's crazy. And, like, you know, there's a lot of delusional fans out there that want attention and will do anything to get it. And, you know, might make something damning to their favorite artist just to like feel noticed by them, and then you know, a lot of misguided stuff like that happens, and you know, something like that could potentially ruin someone's life, let alone a career.
Oh yeah, could definitely just put someone's career in the gutter in an instant. And it doesn't matter if you know how people are nowadays. If something happens and it's like, oh, this person said this crazy heinous thing, look at what they said. Even if it's proven later on, oh, they didn't actually say that. That was AI. the damage has been done already. Like,
Yeah.
because you know how people are. They
How
hear one
many
thing.
cases are there where people did not do what they were accused of doing, and their platform is still ruined, and pretty much their
Yeah.
livelihood is ruined over it? A lot. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I mean, it happens more frequent than you think.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
mean, an accusation is damaging in and of itself. It doesn't
Look,
matter really what actually happened, honestly.
there's so many channels that just deal with drama and kind of basically running with headlines and storylines and narratives and just blowing them out of proportion. And I mean, Keemstar has literally made a livelihood doing it.
Yeah.
Think of all the people that he has basically exacerbated situations that were false to begin with, and pushed the narrative, and basically ruined YouTubers' platforms for no reason. And then it comes out later that they did absolutely nothing, and then it's kind of like, well, he didn't do anything, but his platform's completely, he's deplatformed, and now he can't make a living doing what he was doing.
Yeah, right. All
And that's
because of
just
something you
YouTubers.
didn't do.
What happens if this stuff gets used to try and frame people and get people arrested, and
Right.
people, maybe you make someone basically admit to like a murder or something, and
Yeah.
then they go to jail for that.
I mean, I can see this being really damaging to people that already don't have a good track record. And I don't mean like, by bad track record, I don't mean like a serial killer or something. I mean like someone who you can
people that
see
are not
doing
liked.
something.
Yeah.
Like,
Or just
yeah.
people that are generally not liked.
Yeah.
Like someone like Ben Shapiro, or
Yeah, so like,
I mean, the
people,
list goes on of people that just have takes that people don't like and don't agree with, and
yeah, you
this
just
might
make
be
them
a
say something believable, somewhat believable, and they're fucked basically.
this might be a really good weapon, essentially. I think the United States government will eventually use it too. Honestly, I mean, it seems like something right up their alley.
Yeah.
If
I
someone
honestly, yeah.
doesn't like, if someone has a take or has ideals they do not agree with, they don't even have to plant evidence on you. They can just make
Create
you
it.
say that you did something.
Yeah.
Make a scenario where they hire someone to do something, and then make it to where you admit to it, and then basically you don't even get a trial because they say, well, there's all the evidence right there, and then you're basically going to jail for however long, and
Yeah, right.
for absolutely nothing, and you don't even have an alibi because there's proof, and the proof would be anecdotal and it would be false, obviously. But if it gets really good, there'll be no way to tell.
If it gets like, I mean, it's almost indistinguishable from someone actually talking at times. Like, so if the common person, like me and you, people that are just random people, if we can just make an AI meme about Joe Biden saying something, imagine what they could do. They could make something flawlessly. They could probably make something that you can't even tell in any way that it's not actually an AI.
Yeah, I mean, some of them are pretty convincing.
They are. They honestly are.
I mean, I've seen AI conversations where it's like, I can't remember who it was, but Joe Rogan had a podcast episode with Steve Jobs, and it was all made by AI, and they had like an hour-long conversation.
That's crazy.
Obviously, Steve Jobs has been dead for how long? A while.
Yeah, right.
And then you have him on the Joe Rogan Experience talking to AI Steve Jobs, talking to AI Rogan.
Yeah, that's crazy, because like, if someone stumbles upon that, they would probably think it was an actual like episode of his podcast, right? Like, if something's an hour long or so, they'd probably be like, yeah.
I listened to a good chunk of it, maybe like 20 minutes, and then I turned it off because it just did not feel right. It did not sound right.
Yeah, It's creepy.
And it was, I mean, it sounded just like Joe, and it sounded like Steve Jobs. So, I mean, if I would have not known that he was passed away, I probably would have thought it was a real interview.
Yeah, someone who doesn't like know as much about that stuff will probably believe that at the drop of a hat. Some people, I mean, people are pretty damn gullible in this day and age, honestly. So, I mean, something like that, you snap your fingers and they'll fucking believe that. Like, they won't even question it sometimes. They'll just be like, oh yeah, he definitely said that. He or she definitely said that.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty disturbing in Uncanny Valley. And you know what? It even kind of reminds me, like, so I don't know if we talked about this. I went and saw the movie Megan, and in that, like, part of what the robot did was use different voices, like mimic people's voices to basically lure people in.
I always think that's creepy.
And that's kind of like along the same lines of this, like technology being able to mimic, you know, vocal inflections and shit like that, and you know,
If it doesn't
it's
stop
like,
it being vocal though. Like that's
yeah,
another
I mean,
problem.
think about this. What if you get a phone call and it's like a scammer basically using a loved one's voice to basically coerce you out of information and steal information from you and basically hack you or scam you. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
I mean, they
that-
could definitely do
that
that,
might
I
be
think.
the next step.
Yeah, like scams, like AI scams, like I can see that.
Because you already have all these scammers that are taking advantage of people. Say if you're an old person and you hear your grandson's voice and him asking and basically on the phone call with you, you know, a lot of older people are very gullible and they won't
Yeah.
understand the difference at all.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you have people getting scammed, and I mean that's probably a pretty good way to scam people, honestly. If you're listening, don't get any ideas.
Yeah, hopefully.
But I don't know, and that's just kind of scratching the surface with this.
Yeah, I mean, this is just now like I feel like this is just starting to like blossom. So like this will get I assume the technology will get even better because that's just how it works. So it will eventually probably become indistinguishable, and that's scary to think about.
Well, yeah, I mean the fact is you could be made to say anything, and
Anyone too.
yeah, so pretty much your best bet is to not have audio recorded, which here's the problem, and why I would say it's a government problem, because the NSA records all of your phone calls, so they have plenty of data of you talking to where they could stockpile that and make an AI essentially with your voice and your speech pattern and mannerisms
That would be
and whatnot.
insane.
Because
Like,
the NSA records all of your phone calls, and I'm sure they. Why did they feel the need to do that?
Who knows?
You know.
Who knows?
So, really, if you're somebody that has talked on the phone more than 10 times, you're probably fucked.
Yeah, I mean, if they want to like, I don't know why they'd want to, but if they want to like ruin someone's life like that, or someone's situation, they could do it. Probably.
That it might just be a blackmail technique, you know? Hey,
yeah, that's true.
Or basically just to control people. I think it just goes to show that this to be used as a tool for nefarious purposes is it's not kind of worrisome, it's extremely worrisome.
Yeah, I feel like we just haven't seen it used that way yet.
And here's the thing, how do we know it hasn't been used that way?
Oh yeah, we wouldn't know unless it was like someone big, I guess. I don't know.
Even if it was someone big, if it was done really well, like you said, it would be indistinguishable. So how do we know there's not some cases that have already been kind of you have a phone call used as evidence and it was not real. I mean, you wouldn't be able to verify
Yeah, exactly.
if
You
it was
can't.
done well.
You can't. Literally, there was nothing you could refute about it, because there'd be no way to tell. It's just audio, and if it sounds just like you, well, I mean, you're just kind of done for at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a very scary precedent to set. You
Yeah.
know? And like you said, we're just scratching the surface. The technology is only going to get better. People are only going to get more bored, and you're going to just start seeing this pop up as the new problem. Because, you
Yeah.
know, if
It
just
might
stays a
genuinely
meme
become a
and
big
just
problem.
stays meme status and people just use it for memes, oh well, you know, but people rarely, you know, people take it too far with everything.
Yeah, all with everything. Yeah.
And if this spirals, I mean, it could be devastating.
Yeah, I could see this getting really bad.
Well, it's like the same thing with so here's an example, right? Yeah, I think you saw the video. So just for context, we've been sending back and forth Joe Biden memes where Joe Biden is basically, they're making Joe Biden say a bunch of ridiculous stuff that you know, it's believable because he'll literally just say anything. But then
Yeah.
I sent a video a couple days ago of him literally talking to a 11-year-old and saying, "Hey, come and see me after this," and it says
Yeah.
fact check, but it doesn't say fact check for the like 15 videos that we've been sending back and forth where
Yeah.
Joe Biden is talking about smoking that Zaza or some bullshit.
Yeah. It literally, like on Instagram, it literally says on that video with him talking to the 11-year-old, it literally says like, fact check, this is false information. But that's something he actually said. Maybe it was
Yeah,
taken out of context, but still.
It was more than likely taken out of context. But really,
Yeah,
I
for
don't
sure.
see how he literally is on video at a you know, a speech or something, or you know, doing some at an event, saying to an 11-year-old audience member to come and see him after this,
Yeah.
and they say fact check, but then it'll have Joe Biden basically just saying like nuclear apocalypse bullshit, you know,
Yeah.
uh,
Just
a whole
anything.
bunch of racial slurs, you
Yeah.
know, and a bunch of just ridiculous shit, and that's not fact check. You would
Yeah,
think that
that's
that
what I
would
don't
be
get.
something that says fact check because it's literally him being forced to say something that he did not say that is not a good look on him, but something that he actually did that was heinous says fact check. I don't understand that at
Yeah,
all.
I don't know how they determine that. Like, I don't even understand.
And maybe that's just because they don't care about the memes because the memes are clear that it's not there and that was clearly him.
That's true.
So
Maybe
they're
that's
like,
what it is.
well, now he's making himself look bad. If the public makes him look bad, we already know he's a joke. But we have to protect him when he actually fucks up.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah,
And
pretty
I don't
much.
know. I kind of don't like the social media because of this fact. Because it's like, so are they protecting certain people and trying to push narratives? Is the first thing that I start to ask. You know. Because why does that say that? Why was there so many things that fact check that a lot of which I saw in different instances that were true, and they were literal truths, and then it would say fact check, and then below it would just give a matter of opinion as to why this is what it is when it's trying to argue actual facts that have, you know, data and evidence behind them. I don't really know of any examples off the top of my head, but I know I've seen some.
Yeah.
And who knows, maybe that's an AI doing that as well.
The fact check thing? False
Yeah.
information? I mean, I guess it probably is. I don't know, honestly. I honestly don't know. I never really thought about it. Whether that would be AI or not.
I mean, how can you trust anything nowadays?
No, okay, I looked at one of those posts on Instagram. It says on the false information
tag or whatever, this was reviewed by an independent fact checker. So that means they're implying that a real person reviewed this and then
Okay.
claimed it was false information. So
Which honestly is probably even worse than AI, if we're being honest.
yeah, probably.
Like, honestly, if you cite something as false information, you should have to have the exact reason why it's false and the
Exactly,
counter
yeah.
argument to it, and
Right.
who the person is, so you can verify that their opinion is unbiased.
Right, exactly.
Otherwise, it's just hearsay.
Yeah.
I mean, how can you say something's false and then not give the answer? Like, yeah, that's wrong.
And then
Well,
not say why.
is it wrong? Move on to the next one. No. Like, if something is false, you have to have reasoning behind why you're saying it's false. Because there's a lot of
Yeah,
things that
right.
have more than one answer, and a lot of things in life are subjective. So,
Yeah.
you know, I feel like social media just tries to paint narratives too. It is the media, after all. I guess we kind of forget about that. But the media is great at just making narratives and painting them and going with them and using them for publicity and a whole bunch of bullshit. And, you know, not great, I'd say.
Yeah.
Well, guys, this is Lucid Rain. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we will see you guys next time. Peace.
Peace.